When I seen this on Marketplace yesterday, we stopped what we were doing and went out in the 28-degree weather to go purchase this. We had to see it. I had never seen one in person before, and I was fairly confident we would purchase it even if it was in rough condition, and it does need some work to it. But I want to point out a few things to you. So you'll see at the bottom it is on castor wheels. I do have this wheel right here. I took it off so I could show you something up close here in a minute. We also have the marble slab in the center. This is most likely Carrara marble, which was imported from Italy at that time. It was very popular in the 19th century. And then you can see some of the detail work around the doors here. And of course they have these handy little cabinets on each side. That's something I want you to notate. This is something very unusual, less likely to be found, not as common. So I'm going to tell you exactly what this is used for and how old this is and how I determined that. But before I do, I want you to tell me how old you think this is, what furniture style you think it is, possibly where you think it was made, and then I want you to also tell me what you think it was used for. The next thing I want you to note here is the veneer that's across the front. Mahogany was going to be the primary type of veneer that you've seen used in American Empire furniture. You can see the line here, which is going to give you a book matched design. This is going to be a mahogany crotch. You can often see walnut veneer in American Empire as well, but mahogany was the favored material if it was available to the craftsmen of that time. This is why I'm always stressing so much in my ebook to learn the furniture eras and styles, because more often than not, that's going to be your instant indicator as to what your age range is, as well as value. And then you can use other factors to determine what a more appropriate time frame is for the piece that you're handling. You can see here how rough this finish is. We are going to do our very best to preserve this finish by doing some cleaning and then adding a new varnish over the top of this and a few little veneer repairs. You will be amazed at how much this will actually shine when it's just cleaned. I also want to notate the construction on the drawers here. This is a handmade dovetail, which is going to also help us to understand the age before mechanization. This is called a scribe line. This was often used by craftsmen when they were making a piece by hand to keep everything straight, but you'll still see some irregularities in there. This was very well done though. It's also important to look at your drawer bottoms to determine any type of tool marks, rough cuts, how it was constructed. All of that is going to make a difference for you. Next, we have the marble here. This is most likely a Carrara marble. It's usually going to be a very soft white color, some warmth to it from staining over the years, and has a light gray veining that runs throughout. I also turned the center marble slab over. Generally, those are just placed in there. They're not actually attached. To show you, you can always, well, not always, but most often you can find some type of marking on the back of the marble. Unfortunately, they're not usually able to help you identify anything, but I just think that anytime you find a marking there, it's just very interesting to see. So from here, this looks like some type of N, but what's interesting to me is the N is made almost to look like a column, which makes me think about Italy, and then this beautiful 3 here. So while we don't know what that means, it's just always interesting to look across there. And also underneath, you can see all the stains that have soaked through to the base over the years. It's always worth looking at the backs as well to see the particular types of screws that are made. You want to see if those are machined or machine assisted or hand also help you. And then we will eventually take this mirror off, but you will learn in the ebook as well that mirrors usually are not going to have dates on them unless they were 1900 or later on their manufacturing, or if they are a replacement mirror. So I will take this apart, but I do not expect to find anything aging behind this one. So important to note that I have not checked, but I do feel this mirror has been replaced at some point. I can see a little little bit of silvering loss, which lets me know it is antique or it has some age to it. But generally, on a high-end piece from the American Empire like this, you would see a beveled mirror. So it either has been replaced or this is just a unique piece that did not have the bevel on that. But we will take the mirror out to check a few things to see how old we think that is as well. So one thing that we instantly did was take off the castor wheels here, because I could see, and I'm hoping you can as well, that there was some type of molding or stamp around the edge of these castors. So after a lot of researching and determining and finding a few different things, as you could see here on this paper, it said August 17. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it was the 1700s, because they didn't have those then. And if they did, they were very, very uncommon. So after going through a few of those things, we also uncovered that these wheels were in fact August, abbreviated, 17, and then 86. Eventually, we were able to figure out that, I know you cannot make this out, but this says Tucker. So these wheels were actually manufactured by Tucker and Dorsey, I believe the name was. This very innovative cast iron double wheel design, which has held up beautifully over the years, so the last 130 years or so, and they are still going strong. These were actually added at a later date than this dresser. So it's important to say that just because you do find a date on hardware does not necessarily mean that that is going to be indicative of the actual date that the piece was made. It became very common in the late 19th century as these wheels started to become, or the castor wheels became more prominent, that you could have any homeowner, you add these on with basic tools. These, I believe, castor wheels began being patented in 1830. Also, it's fun to note that if you do find something that is patented, they usually did not have a number patent system until 1830, and I believe that the actual U.S. patent system was not even created until 1790. So that helps you to understand a little bit about your timelines there. But again, it's so important not to just focus on hardware. So based on everything that I've shown you and all of your guesses that you sent in, just to confirm for you, this is an American Empire style. Again, that's so important to understand your eras and styles, so that can give you a starting point to determine the age of the piece. The reason I notated so much about the castor wheels is because we know that those were added at a later date, most likely a few years after that patent became widely available to anyone that could access them. Because this piece actually, we are confident, was constructed somewhere between 1840 and 1850. Again, that's why it's so important to know your eras and styles. Now, if I had only seen the wheels and the date and I did not know anything about the rest of the construction and how to understand that or the styles, I would have immediately assumed that that was the year it was made. And I did do that in my earlier times, but it's so important to continue educating ourselves. So based on everything, it is an American Empire piece. It was constructed somewhere between 1840 and 1850. The informal name for this is a wig cabinet, and it was either used for the men's wigs for storage or for just general toiletries, cosmetics, things like that. We do believe that it was American made. So that solves the mystery of the wig cabinet. This piece will be getting restored here in our shop over the next month or so. So we're really excited to offer that to you and to continue educating you so we can save a little bit of history, one piece at a time.